Hello everyone. So far we have seen in Python, we have seen the print statement. So we can print and the types like integers, or we have a floating point. We have strings which can be single letters or combination of letters, symbols, and so on and so forth. So we can print it now, or we also know we can also print, for example, we can say result. We can have result equal to, we can say, times d2. So we can do all this stuff, but now suppose on the other hand, so we are able to do something in our program, and we can give the output to the user. Now on the other hand, so let us look in suppose if the user wants to give something to the program, so some kind of a user input or user interaction. That's what we are going to discuss in this video. So how we are going to take some kind of an input from the user and accordingly modify the course of our program, or they take a decision depending upon the user input. What is the tool that is available in Python? That we are going to see. So it's very simple. We have the print say function. So we have the input. So we just say input and parenthesis. So when I do that, the program it just waits for us to input something. So I say hello, or I can even say hello world, right? So now, what it means, it is taking a hello world. So so you can see that there's a quotation mark around, so it means that it is taking it as a string, right? We can always check it, right? Type input. So it says, I say hello. Yeah, so it is taking as a string. So it's very simple. What we have to do to take some input from the user, or some quantities or some integers, whatever we want to, just say input. So the program waits, and I can say increase, or whatever. And now so this is a string. Suppose if we want to say input a number, for example, say input. So before that, let's do one thing. So now when I say input, it doesn't say anything. It is blank. It just waits there, and I don't have no idea of telling the user, oh, what I want. So so for that, either I can say print what is the value, what is the we can say input name, for example, right? And then I can say next line, I can say input. So now, of course, okay, it says the input name, so now I can say John. So there is a shortcut to that. We don't have to use a print and then an input. The input also, inside the input, I can write that thing, input name. So essentially it performs two things now. So it prints whatever string that I passed inside that function, and then it waits. So now I can say, right? So the only difference is that it is taking the same. Here in the print we have seen that it goes to the next line, because remember the new line character in the print, so the next thing prints in the next line. So in the input case, it actually when I did that, it is in the same line. So name, say Kumar. So again, now suppose now let us go and so remember it is a string. So let us say I want say input temperature, right? So now I say it's a 20 degrees. So again I have a trouble, right? So it is 20. For example, I say input 20. If I want to add an change in temperature, so 30 to that, it doesn't work. It will work, for example, if I say this, I make it as a string, and then I can say input temperature 20. So it does a string concatenation. So that is not what I want. I want to physically say add and change the temperature or increase the add delta temperature. So what, remember you already know. So how do we do that? Yeah, we just can convert it. We can make it as a maybe float, right? Let's say the int. So now input temperature says I do 20. So I get 20 plus 30, 50. So I can convert my type to an int. Now, for example, so the point is very simple. I can convert it to into float, or I can say float, right? And then I can do, if I want the whole thing to be integer at the end. So I can do all those things that we already know. So now, for example, I can use the print, right? I can say we can do a conversion, right? Say conversion, right? So I do say print give temperature in give temperature, so temperature in Fahrenheit, right, equal to temperature in Fahrenheit equal to how do we say? We say input, right? Enter temp in Celsius times, so 9 by 5 plus 32, right? So again, remember, so we have to, this quantity here will be read as a string. So I have to do what? Yes, I have to convert it into say float, for example. And then I have 9 by 5. So 10 temperature in Celsius, how much is it? So we'll say 50. So it gives me 122. So again, we can do the things that we already know. We can do things like, if we want to convert the whole thing as integer, we can cast as an integer, right? 50, so 122. And again, if you want to do a concatenation, the whole thing as one string, you can do a plus. So now I have to make it as a string, right? 50. So we can perform all the things that we already know, and as such, things may start to look a little bit complex at the same time. Since we already know the basics, so it's a very simple thing, but we keep adding another layer and another layer and another layer, and so this that's main thing what I wanted to discuss. Is very simple. So the only thing that we learned today is how to take an input from the user using input function, and it's very simple. When you use the input, the prompt waits there, and you can input a number or a string. You are inputting as a string, but then later on we perform type conversion using the tools that we already learned, and then we can process it as we previously learned. Thank you so much for watching.